Your daughter has just turned 13 and you have also just found out that she is pregnant. She refuses to tell you who the father is and you're into the church. So you run her down to the church and you let her have a confession with the priest.
If I go missing, look for the red minivan.
Please, please, I don't have any time for any gossip now. Eh? Yes.
Look at you.
Do something with it.
It's just money coming to me easily. Money coming in and needing me. Money coming in repeatedly. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me frequently. Money coming in to be with me. Money coming in secretly. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me always. Money coming in all day. Money coming in all paid. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me frequently. Money coming in to be with me.
Hey y'all, welcome back to All Things Jenny. I'm Jenny, brought to you in my car. So let's get into this damn story. So this lady basically found out her 13 or 12-year-old daughter is pregnant. First of all, ma'am, at 13, what do you mean your daughter is pregnant at 13? But then again, look, things happen. You leave your kids at home, you go to work, or you are not there to watch over your kids. Things like this happen. And I know a bunch of 13-year-old stories that I've heard get pregnant at 13, because kids are just kids, okay? And they do stuff because people don't talk about the birds and the bees with their children at an early age anymore, you know? So kids don't understand. Like with me, I had to learn this on my own. Like my parents didn't sit me down and have this conversation. I just kind of learned from watching other people getting pregnant so young, and or just from learning from other people. It's just crazy. But let's get into the story. I don't want to take any more of your time. Let's get into this crazy story.
Your daughter has just turned 13 and you have also just found out that she is pregnant. She refuses to tell you who the father is and you're into the church. So you run her down to the church and you let her have a confession with the priest. The priest lets you know, even if she tells me, I can't disclose to you unless that's something she wants to do. You said, I'm going to let the Lord handle it. Take her back there and get her confession. He takes your daughter to the back. He gets her confession. And what the priest hears is disturbing. The priest brings your daughter to the front and he says, I know I'm not supposed to say anything. And he looks at your daughter and he says, tell your mother what you told me. You look at your daughter and your daughter looks back at you and she lies. The priest looks at her and he says, are you sure you want to go this route? Your daughter says yes. You go down to the police station and you press charges on your brother, which is her uncle. The priest hears about it and he can't take it. The priest comes up to the police station and he wants to give his confession. The detectives come in the room and they say, are you sure your uncle is who did this to you? You look at your daughter and she says yes. And you say, I believe my daughter because I took her down to the church and I knew the Lord would make a way. The detectives tell you your daughter is lying because the priest has come in and he has given us her confession. And it is not your brother. As the priest is leaving out of one interrogation room, the mother and the daughter are leaving out another. The priest notices, he turns around, he grabs the daughter's hands, and he says, I am sorry for what your grandfather has done to you. I couldn't hold it anymore. Her mother looks at her as if she is in shock. She is in disbelief. And as the detectives are coming out, they're letting you know they're on the way to your home, and they are going to investigate what your daughter has said. You're such a rush of shock and rage, you head to your house as well. As you are pulling up, the detectives are already there, and they are walking your oldest daughter out in handcuffs. She has blood all over her. And your oldest daughter looks at you, and she says, I hate you for making me keep that baby.
If I go missing, look for the man in the red minivan, a Spanish man in the red minivan. That's what this young lady titled her video because she got a reading from a psychic that told her that she's being...
If I go missing, look for the red minivan. So I'm coming on here just to document what's going on in my life. I have a psychic client. She had informed me back in the summer that she had some type of premonition that I was being watched by a Hispanic man and to not walk outside alone. There's more to the story. I'll get back to that if you guys really do want a detailed story. However, all I know is avoid walking the street alone at night, and I guess don't engage with any any men that are alone, but especially, you know, Hispanic men, because it's specifically what she saw. She said that he had been watching me. I can't live my life thinking I'm being watched all the time, but that hasn't like escaped my head. It has been in the back of my brain and my mind all the time, because how do you just sleep at night knowing that you're being watched? I am training a new girl at work, and I decided to tell her about it. We were just bored at work, and I'm like, oh, well, want to hear something crazy? So I tell her the story. So now, because I'm training her, she worked her first half shift alone. That would typically be a shift that I would be working. And where I sit, I'm surrounded by windows. It's kind of like a snow globe. We had the window behind us closed, really just for warmth, but in fact, that actually does block people coming up the road this way from just seeing me. And she said that she happened to look outside and she sees a red minivan pass by, and she said that he like broke his neck trying to like turn and look in, and she's like, we made direct eye contact, and it was weird. She said that it was an Hispanic man in his 30s. He was alone, and she even described what he was wearing. She pretty much had all the details except the license plate, which would have really been great info. But so then she goes on to tell me that she saw this man drive past 4 more times, an hour apart, and every time breaking his neck trying to look inside and look for me. I don't know. I kind of looked at her like, you remember what I told you the other day, right? And she's like, yeah, that's why I'm telling you. Like, I think that's your stalker. He was always driving the same direction. He was always alone. And like, I don't know a lot of 30-year-olds driving a red minivan without children. It's like a soccer mom car, whatever. But like the other half of me is like, okay, if you're not driving a minivan with a bunch of kids in it, you're driving a minivan to abduct a bunch of kids. And I'm not a kid. I'm an adult. But I'm being followed. I don't know. So then last night I get out of work and I walk out with my clients, especially the female clients. I do not want them walking out alone at night, and I don't walk out alone either. So I get in my car. Thankfully the door's locked, and somebody just goes to my passenger door and starts pulling at the handle. It was a man dressed as a woman, which is fine. But like, this is a man trying to get into my vehicle, and I'm just like, no. It was the only word that came to mind was no. And they're like waving, and they're like, hey, hey. And I'm like, no, no. I wouldn't even roll down the window. I didn't unlock it, obviously. I just kept on going, no, no, sorry, no. Finally, after like a minute of this back and forth, she walked away and like turns the corner, and I never saw her again. But like, I'm not your friend. You're looking me directly in the face and you recognize it. I'm not your friend. And if it's an Uber, like, you should have the Apple VIN. It should say like a license plate or a type of vehicle. It's really weird. Within days of this man stalking me at work, now I have a man dressed as a woman trying to enter my vehicle at 7 o'clock at night when I'm alone. It wasn't just like, oh, sorry, wrong car. It was like pulling on the door handle, waving and smiling at me for a solid minute. I don't know who you are. Please leave. Please leave. I don't know why I'm telling you all of this, but documentation. If I go missing, look for the red minivan.
Been dodging responding to you guys for a couple days. The update is that there is no update. I am perfectly fine. I do want to clarify a few things, but I do need to stress everything I have learned is against my will. I did not go looking for this information. This psychic is a client of mine. She's actually paying me for a service, and while receiving that service is when she informed me of the stalker and a bunch of other creepy things. I am a Christian. I don't go to psychics. I don't entertain that whole world. That's just not how I was raised. Maybe he doesn't exist and this was all a bunch of baloney. That would be preferable. I'd be so okay with it all being a bunch of baloney, made up, not true. That would be lovely. Until that's the case, I am just going to be mindful of my surroundings, try not to manifest it. I'm just careful, but I'm as careful as any female alone should be. It doesn't matter what your age is. We live in a scary world, and I think you all know that. I'll just update you guys if, God forbid, something happens. So yeah, that's all. I feel like I only hop on here for bad news, but I just need to talk about what just happened. I was letting my client in for her service and locking the door behind us. And as I'm locking the door, this Hispanic man in his 30s, he pretty much matched the description that I had gotten from my coworker. He is across the street watching me lock the door and smiling. And it wasn't like a friendly smile to a stranger. It was like, I'm gonna get you smile. It was like an evil freaking horror movie smile. That wasn't fun. And I was so freaked out. I actually told my client about it, and I walked her to her car. I would not let her walk out alone. And obviously I made sure that the coast was clear when I left. But like, it's 3 p.m. I shouldn't be scared at 3 p.m. 3 p.m. on a Monday, and I have creepy men smiling at me. As a female, not that shocking. I get it. But as a female who was told to watch out for that, a little uneasy. All right, that's all.
Now, while I was sitting here listening to the story and just thinking to myself, I'm like, your psychic better be right too, because for her to make this allegation saying that it's a Spanish man in a red minivan, ma'am, is she right? Does she know for sure that it's a Spanish man? Because it can very much be a white man with dark brown hair. How do we know it's a Spanish man? And when they came to your door trying to open your car door and it was a man dressing like a woman, did she look like a Spanish woman? I mean, yeah, maybe she could wear whatever kind of wig, but was it giving Spanish? Because don't get me wrong, yes, if you are in danger, I say you look for the proper help by calling the police. They're probably not going to do anything because you don't have any evidence, and also this person has not done anything to you, because that's what they do, is they wait until something actually happened for them to do something. But anyways, I think going to the police and getting a restraining order would be the best case scenario here. But how can you do that when you don't even know the person or can't even give the document to them, like the restraining order to them? But for her to say that it's a Spanish man in a red van, she seems very matter of fact. So she better be very matter of fact, because saying that it's a Spanish man and not just a man, period, like any man could be the target, or not the target, but the person, it's crazy saying that it's a Spanish man. But if it is a Spanish man, you be careful out here, because it is kind of crazy. You know, that's why I say you should always have your heads up, looking everywhere, because you just don't know when the killer's going to be behind you. So be careful out here, y'all. This is a lesson. And not just for her, but for everyone, because while you're out here, you should be walking outside as if someone is stalking you, you know, so you could be prepared. Excuse me. Ooh. Excuse me. Ooh. Anyways, but yeah, be careful out here, ma'am. Hopefully it's not no Spanish man. Hopefully there's no man at all that's chasing you. But if there is a man that's chasing you, I hope you are safe wherever you are. And I hope to God that it's not a different race of man that they're saying is a Spanish man, because that happens all the time. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. My phone is like sliding down. Anyways, I'll talk to y'all later.